Cancer. There is something specific I want to clarify before we go further, because the title of this reading uses the word victory, and the word can mean different things depending on what is being measured. I want to be clear about what kind of victory I am sensing for you, because the clarity will help you recognize the victory when it arrives, rather than waiting for a version that does not match what is actually happening. The kind of victory I am picking up is not the kind that involves defeating someone else. It is not the victory of being right while others are wrong, or of acquiring something that others wanted, or of demonstrating superiority in any external dimension. It is the victory that occurs when a person finally arrives at the configuration of their own life that fits them. The arriving has been a long process. The fitting is what makes it a victory. You are about to inhabit the version of your life that has been quietly forming through everything you have been doing, even when the doing did not feel like progress toward anything specific. I want to describe what this version of your life looks like, because the description matters. The fitting version of your life is one in which the major dimensions of your existence are aligned with who you actually are. Your work, in whatever form, expresses something genuine about your capacities and interests, rather than being a performance you put on in order to survive. Your relationships are with people who recognize you accurately, rather than with people who relate to a partial or distorted version of you. Your daily rhythms reflect what you actually need to flourish, rather than being shaped by external pressures that conflict with your nature. Your sense of meaning is grounded in things that genuinely matter to you, rather than being borrowed from frames that other people have provided. The fitting is comprehensive. It includes many dimensions, each contributing to the overall sense that your life is yours in a way it has not been before. The version of your life I am describing is not a fantasy. It is not something that requires impossible conditions to materialize. It is a real configuration that becomes available to people who have done sustained work on themselves over time. The sustained work, in your case, has been substantial. The work has not always been visible to you as work. It has often felt like just living, but the cumulative effect of how you have been living has been the construction of the inner foundation that makes this configuration possible. The construction is now substantially complete. What remains is the visible expression of the configuration in the external dimensions of your life. The expression is approaching. It is closer than your previous experience would suggest. I want to address how the victory will reveal itself, because the revealing has its own particular quality. It will not arrive all at once. It will arrive in stages. The first stage is what I would call recognition of alignment. You will start to notice that certain dimensions of your life are working better than they have been working. Decisions that have been pending will resolve. Tensions that have been chronic will release. Relationships that have been ambiguous will clarify. The clarifying may happen across multiple areas simultaneously, or it may happen sequentially. Either way, you will register in the period ahead a noticeable improvement in how various parts of your life are functioning. The second stage is what I would call the deepening of capacity. As the external improvements unfold, your interior capacities will continue to develop in ways that match the new conditions. You will discover that you have more attention available, more emotional resilience, more clarity in decision making, more energy for what matters to you. The discoveries are the natural result of conditions no longer demanding the energy that previous conditions demanded. The freed energy becomes available for other uses, and the uses produce further development. The development reinforces the alignment. The cycle continues. The third stage is the recognition that the new conditions are sustainable. There will be a moment, somewhere in the unfolding, when you realize that what is occurring is not a temporary phase. It is a new baseline. The realization may come gradually rather than in a single moment, but it will come. After the realization, you will begin to relate to your life from the perspective of someone who is living in the new conditions rather than someone who is waiting for them. The shift in perspective is significant. It changes how you make plans, how you take risks, how you imagine the future. The new perspective is the perspective of someone whose life is working. I want to take a moment to slow down and acknowledge something important. The victory I am describing is significant, but it is not theatrical. It will not be marked by a single event that you can point to as the moment of triumph. It will be marked by an accumulation of smaller moments that together constitute the larger shift. People who expect theatrical victories sometimes miss the actual ones, because the actual ones do not announce themselves with the volume that the expectations require. So, I want to gently suggest that you adjust your expectations to match what is actually approaching. The victory is real. The reality is just quieter than the imagining. I want to mention something specific about what may produce in you a feeling of victory at particular moments along the way. There will be specific events within the larger pattern that stand out as markers. A conversation that goes well in a way you had not expected. A piece of news that confirms something you had been working toward. An opportunity that arrives in a form that exceeds what you had hoped for. A relationship that develops in a direction that surprises you with its rightness. Any of these can produce, in the moment, a sense of victory. The sense is appropriate. It is the appropriate response to the convergence of preparation and timing that has produced the moment. Allow the feeling when it arises. Do not require yourself to be more measured than the moment warrants. This is Cancer Tarot, and I want to share something specific about the timing of when the victory will become apparent to you. The full picture is not going to be apparent immediately. The picture will continue to clarify across the coming months, with various pieces becoming visible at different points. You may, in retrospect, identify a particular moment as the moment when the shift became unmistakable. The identifying will probably occur sometime after the actual moment. The actual moment, while you are inside it, may not announce itself as the decisive one. The decisive quality often becomes recognizable only from a distance. So do not feel pressured to identify the decisive moment in real time. The identifying can occur in its own time, retrospectively, when you have enough distance to see the pattern clearly. I want to address something specific about what kind of person you are becoming through this shift. The fitting version of your life is producing, in you, a particular kind of settled confidence. The confidence is not arrogance. It is more like the confidence of someone who has done the work to know themselves and who is now living in conditions that allow the self-knowledge to be expressed. People who encounter you in the new conditions will notice the confidence. They will respond to it positively, in most cases. They will find you easier to engage with, more reliable, more substantial than people they encounter who are still operating in less aligned configurations. The settledness is one of your most attractive qualities. It will continue to develop as the alignment deepens. I want to share something about how the victory will affect your relationships specifically. Relationships that are aligned with who you actually are will deepen. Relationships that were structured around earlier, less aligned versions of you will require adjustment. Some will adjust successfully, some will not. The non-adjusting relationships will gradually become less central to your life. The adjusting ones will become more central. The redistribution of relational energy is part of how the victory expresses itself in the social dimension of your life. The new configuration of relationships will be one of the more meaningful aspects of the changed conditions. You will be surrounded by people who actually see you, rather than by people who related to versions of you that do not quite match who you are now. I want to mention something about how the victory will affect your work. Your work, in whatever form it takes, will increasingly feel like an expression of who you are rather than something separate from you. The integration of work and self is one of the markers of an aligned life. The integration produces, over time, a quality of engagement with work that is sustainable. You will have more energy for it. You will find more meaning in it. You will produce outcomes that better reflect your actual capacities. The outcomes may not look spectacular from the outside. They will look right from the inside. The rightness is what matters. People living rightly aligned with their work tend to produce, over time, contributions that have unusual durability and impact, even when they are not loudly recognized in any particular moment. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the work you have done that has produced the conditions in which this victory is possible. The work has been long. The work has often been done in conditions that did not reward it. The work has involved facing things in yourself that were uncomfortable to face. The work has required you to make decisions that other people did not understand or approve of. The work has been yours. No one else could have done it for you. The fact that you have done it consistently over the time required is itself a significant accomplishment. The accomplishment is not always visible from the outside, but it is the foundation of what is now approaching. You can take quiet satisfaction in what you have done. The satisfaction is appropriate. I want to share an observation about how the kind of victory I am describing differs from the kinds of victory that get more cultural attention. The cultural narratives about victory tend to focus on competitive triumph, on defeating opponents, on achieving recognized markers of success. These narratives have their place, but they describe a particular kind of victory that is not the only kind. The kind I am describing is more interior. It is the victory of becoming the person you were meant to become, in conditions that match what you needed to flourish. This kind of victory is not always recognized externally with awards or accolades, but it is more sustainable in many ways than the more publicly celebrated kinds. It does not require continued performance to maintain. It does not depend on continued external validation. It rests in the alignment itself, which is intrinsic rather than extrinsic. This is Cancer Tarot, and I want to address what may feel like the most pressing question as you receive this. When, specifically, will the victory be evident? I cannot give you a precise calendar. What I can tell you is that elements of the shift are already underway. You may be able to identify, looking at your recent past, moments that in retrospect look like early stages of what is unfolding. The unfolding will continue across the coming months. Particular months in that period will produce particular movements that contribute to the larger pattern. By the end of the coming period, the pattern will be clearly visible. You will look back from that vantage point and see how the various developments fit together into the larger configuration. The seeing clearly will be one of the satisfying aspects of having lived through it. I want to mention something about what to do during the period of unfolding. Do not try to engineer the developments. The developments are happening on their own schedule, driven by larger forces that include your own work but extend beyond it. Trying to engineer them often produces interference rather than acceleration. So allow them to unfold. Pay attention to what arises in your life. Respond to each development as it presents itself with as much thoughtfulness as the development warrants. Do not project too far ahead. The unfolding has its own intelligence, and the intelligence is operating in your favor. Trust the operating. Your trust will deepen as more of the pattern becomes visible. I want to share an orientation about how to handle moments of doubt that may arise during the unfolding. There will probably be moments when you wonder whether the shift is real, whether what you are experiencing is what I have been describing, or whether it is something less significant. The wondering is normal. Major shifts often produce moments of doubt as the nervous system adjusts to changed conditions. The doubt is not evidence that the shift is not occurring. It is just the natural response of a system that has been calibrated to different conditions and is now updating. Allow the doubt without becoming attached to it. The shift will continue regardless of whether you are doubting it in any given moment. The shift is structural, not contingent on your continuous belief in it. I want to mention something specific about a particular dimension of the victory that I have not yet emphasized. The victory includes a particular quality of relief. The relief is the relief of someone who has been carrying invisible weight for a long time and who is finally setting the weight down. The weight has been the cumulative result of operating in conditions that did not match you. You may not have always recognized that you were carrying weight. You may have thought that the strain you felt was simply the nature of life. As the new conditions take hold, you will notice that you have more breath, You have more space in your chest. You have more capacity for ordinary moments to be enjoyable, without the constant low-grade strain of trying to make a misaligned situation work. The relief is one of the most underrated aspects of victories of this kind. It is one of the most valuable. I want to address what the relief will allow you to do that you have not been able to do before. The freed energy that the relief produces will be available for various uses. Some of it will go toward developing capacities that have been waiting for the bandwidth to develop them. Some of it will go toward relationships that have been getting less than they deserved from you because you were depleted. Some of it will go toward pleasures that you have been deferring because the conditions for pleasure were not present. All of these uses are valid. You can let the freed energy go where it naturally wants to go without needing to manage its allocation strictly. The natural allocation tends to produce good results. I want to mention something about the people in your life and how they will respond to the changes. Some will be straightforwardly happy for you. They have been wanting you to flourish, and they will receive the news of your flourishing with uncomplicated joy. These people are precious. Hold them close. They are the foundation of the relational life that supports your continuing flourishing. Other people will have more complicated reactions. They may have been comfortable with you in your less flourishing state, perhaps because it made them feel less alone in their own less flourishing states. Your flourishing may produce discomfort in them. The discomfort is not your responsibility to manage. It is theirs to navigate. You can be patient with them, but you are not obligated to slow your flourishing to accommodate their discomfort. I want to take a moment to share something about how the victory relates to your own past. As the victory unfolds, you will find yourself looking at your past differently. Things that previously seemed like failures will reveal themselves as necessary stages in the path that led here. Things that seemed like wasted time will turn out to have been gestation. Difficult periods that seemed pointless will be revealed as having served specific purposes that are now becoming visible. The retrospective integration of your past is one of the deeper rewards of victories of this kind. It produces a sense of meaning that was not available while you were inside the difficulties. The meaning was always there. The seeing of it was just delayed until the conditions for seeing developed. The seeing is approaching. This is Cancer Tarot, and I want to address what I think is the most important framing of all of this. The victory is not just about you arriving somewhere. It is about you becoming someone. The someone you are becoming is the version of you that has been forming throughout your life. The forming has been gradual. The current moment is the threshold at which the forming reaches expression in your visible life. The expression is the victory. Each piece of the expression is a confirmation that the forming was real, that the work was real, that the becoming has been moving in a direction that you can now identify and inhabit. I want to share something about who this version of you is in a positive sense. The version of you that is now coming into expression is the version that combines your various qualities in an integrated way. Your intelligence, your warmth, your discernment, your steadiness, your creativity, all of these have been present in you, but they have not always been able to express themselves together in a coordinated way. The new conditions allow the coordination. You will move through your life with all of your qualities operating together, each supporting the others, producing a quality of engagement with the world that has more substance than the previous configuration permitted. The substance is what will be visible to others. It is also what will be experienceable to you from the inside as a quality of being yourself that is more integrated than you have previously experienced. I want to mention something about how the victory will affect your relationship to your own ambition. You have perhaps been carrying an ambition that has been operating somewhat anxiously. The anxiety has been the response of someone who has been wanting things in conditions that did not seem to support the wanting. As the new conditions take hold, the ambition will begin to operate more confidently. You will pursue what you want with less strain. The pursuing will be more effective because anxious pursuit often produces results that are less aligned with the actual goal. Confident pursuit, grounded in conditions that support the pursuing, tends to produce better outcomes. You will notice the difference. I want to share an orientation about how to handle the moments of the victory when they arrive. Receive them. Allow yourself to feel what you feel. Do not minimize the significance of moments that are significant. Do not perform a casualness that does not match your actual response. The genuine response is appropriate. The moments deserve to be felt at their actual weight. Feeling them at their actual weight is part of how they integrate into your sense of yourself and your life. The integration produces sustainable benefits beyond just the immediate satisfaction of the moments themselves. I want to address a possible concern. There may be a part of you that wonders whether you are being asked to wait for some external arrival while life passes in the meantime. I want to address this. The victory is not external in the sense that requires you to wait for something to happen. It is unfolding now. It is unfolding in the small moments of your current life. It is unfolding through the choices you are currently making, the conversations you are currently having, the developments you are currently noticing. You are inside the victory already, in some respects. Other respects will become visible over the coming period. But the victory is not in some far-off future that you have to wait for. It is in the present, partially visible already, becoming more visible over time. I want to acknowledge something about the courage it has taken to be where you are. The courage may not feel like courage to you. It may feel like simply doing what needed to be done. But the doing has required real courage, including in moments when no one was watching, when no one was acknowledging, when no one was supporting. You have continued to show up. The continuing to show up is what produced the conditions in which the victory becomes possible. You can take some quiet pride in the courage you have demonstrated, even if the pride is not the kind that gets expressed loudly. The pride is appropriate. It belongs to you. You earned it. You are about to live in a different chapter of your life. The chapter is the chapter that fits you. The chapter has been being prepared for you for some time through the cumulative effect of your work and through circumstances that have been organizing themselves in your favor. The preparation is now reaching the point where the chapter becomes inhabitable. You will move into it gradually, as various aspects of your life realign with who you are. The moving will not require any specific effort beyond what you have already been giving. The moving will occur naturally as the conditions continue to clarify. Here on Cancer Tarot, the closing emphasis I want to leave with you is this. The victory is the alignment of your life with who you actually are. The alignment is approaching in stages across the coming period. You will recognize the alignment as it unfolds, partly in real time and partly in retrospect. The recognition will produce, over time, a sense of having arrived at the version of your life that has been forming all along. The arriving is real. The arriving is yours. You have done the work. The work is paying. The paying will continue. You can rely on the continuation. The reliability is one of the foundational features of the new conditions. Other features will become visible as you continue to live into them. The continuing to live is the entire practice. There is no other practice required. You are not approaching a single dramatic event that will mark the victory. You are approaching a sustained period of unfolding in which the victory becomes increasingly visible. The sustained quality is part of what makes the victory durable. Dramatic events often fade. Sustained unfoldings tend to remain. What you are entering will remain. The remaining is the gift. Walk into the coming period with the awareness that you have prepared for what is approaching, that the approaching is benign and supportive, and that you have the capacity to receive it well. The capacity is in you. The receiving will produce, over time, the inhabiting of a life that genuinely fits you. The fitting is the deepest form of victory available to a human being. You are entering it. The entering is yours. The continuing is yours. The flourishing that comes from inhabiting your own life is yours. Receive it. Live in it. Allow it to teach you what you need to learn about how to be yourself in conditions that finally allow the being. The victory is happening. It is yours. It is good. It is sustainable. It is the natural consequence of who you have been being and what you have been preparing for. Trust the unfolding. The unfolding is gentle. The unfolding is reliable. The unfolding is good. Walk forward. The greatest victory of your life is the becoming of yourself, in conditions that finally allow the becoming to be visible and real. You are inside the becoming. The visibility is increasing. The reality is settling. Continue. The continuing is what produces the rest. The rest is what fits you and what you have been preparing for all along. The all along has been worth it. The fruits of the all along are now arriving. Receive them. They are yours.